Griselda, thanks for joining us once again. What's happened since we last talked? You'd just gone through that seismic event, which was a little bit stronger than the one that played out on Thursday. Has anything happened since that event?
Well, Peter, after those two seismic events, we did report earlier that the rescue operation itself had been halted. I do understand now that it has resumed. It had been halted in order to allow the mine rescuers to assess the ground itself before they continue with the rescue mission for those three miners that remain trapped underground since yesterday. What we do know is that they have managed to locate one of the trapped miners, and we're not sure what the situation is at this point pertaining to their health. Also with regard to the four miners who are confirmed dead, the three, of course, the bodies of the three have been brought to the surface. The last we spoke was that they were trying to bring up the body of the fourth miner who died in this tragedy. That is still taking place at this stage. There's no further update pertaining to that. But of course, yes, a bit later on this evening, we're expecting the Mineral Resources Minister, Gwede Mantashe, to come here and seek answers about what has happened. We saw some of the strong statements that were made by him earlier on this morning, lambasting the safety at this particular mine. A strong worded statement from Kasatu as well with regard to that, the safety record at this mine, because you would know that since the beginning of this year, there have already been 7 fatalities at this particular mine. Let's get an update now. One of the people who's been here as well to assess the situation is the AMCU President, Joseph Matunjwa. Mr. Matunjwa, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Well, you've just been to the scene. Can you describe to us what is taking place there now? We understand that the rescue mission itself has resumed.
Yes, as we are in the surface of the shaft with the presentation, as you just confirmed that indeed the 3 mine workers have been allocated underground, but because of the another 3.5 Richter scale seismic event, they had to withdraw. It is quite sad again to say, 4 mine workers been confirmed dead and 4 they are in the ICU and 2, yes, they are in the general ward. So, but that it put us back to the point of safety in these mines. These mines, I think, they are old at the end of the day. So the government, the DMR, has to be very strong as the regulators in terms of adherence to the legislation or to the Mine Health and Safety Act. We believe that the first 2.5 Richter scale that happened yesterday, the company should have withdrawn the workers from this crossing for 40 level to take them to the safety place, or what they call it, a waiting place, and maybe for 2 hours. As they were presenting to us, when this 3.5 happened right now, I called the senior manager, said, what is happening with those rescuers who are underground? He said, yes, they did withdraw them. Then the question was, why yesterday, when you have 2.5, why didn't you withdraw those workers? They are saying, no, they were 2 kilometers apart. But we said, immaterial of that, because the seismic event has been happening in these mines.
Mm-hmm. Have you raised these concerns in the past? I know that the issue of worker safety has been high on your agenda. Do you think that the mine did enough to ensure the safety of these miners? Because you're also saying that there was no withdrawal of the miners when the first instance took place.
I don't think these mines, they are doing anything in terms of improving the safety. You'll remember at Beatrix, 1,300 workers were trapped underground, and the emergency power supply was not working, which were the generators. Then we invited them to say, let's call a Mine Health and Safety Summit for all unions and employers. To date, that hasn't happened because prevention is too expensive. But to replace a black mine worker is very cheap. How much are they earning? 6,000? As they have passed on, they've died. Well, how much the families will get? 6,000 times 36. Then there's the end of the day. They will replace another one. They will bring another one again.
Mr. Matunjwa, in the talks, I understand, will you be meeting with management at all this afternoon to raise some of these concerns?
I did raise with their CEO to say these things has been happening for the past seismic event that has happened in this mine, can you show me your remedial action have you taken? Nothing. You remember on the 21st of April, 0.3 seismic event happened in this mine and one worker died. Then I asked them what were they learning from that one. They can't give me anything around that.
Mm-hmm. What are you proposing as a union then as a way forward? Because this is not the first fatalities that we're seeing this year at this particular mine. There have been 7 so far. This brings the total to 7 this year.
I think the Mine Health and Safety Act should be beefed up, should be looked at, and also these COs must be accountable. And this death in the mine must be treated as a human right issue. Until such time we see some of this captain of this industry being arrested and be put behind bars, I don't think they will put more emphasis in the safety. The safety must be, they must treat the safety as they treat their interest in terms of profit, how they secure their profits in the expense of the workers. So they must treat the safety as they treat their interest in their profit.
Mr. Matunja, you just told us that it seems 4 of those miners who were injured are in a critical condition. That's what you said. Are you on your way to the hospital, I understand, to go and visit them? Is there any other further details about their injuries at this time?
Yes, according to the mine, they are in the intensive care. We're still liaising with the doctor as I will be driving whether we'll be allowed to enter in the intensive care. If not, then we have to wait until such time the doctors are giving us a go-ahead. But there is another one in Alberton, of which I don't think that one is highly critical, and the other 2. So therefore we'll be driving to see whether would they allow us to visit them.
The Mineral Resources Minister, Gwede Mantashe, will be here this evening. What message would you want to send to him? He is new within this portfolio, but of course not new to the miners' struggle. But what message would you want to send to him? Because clearly what has been happening here has been ongoing. Yes, the instances may be different in terms of whether it's a seismic event or not. Others may be related, of course, to issues where the workers themselves do not take the necessary precautions. But what message would you want the Minister of Mineral Resources to convey to ensure that perhaps instances like this stop?
I think the Minister, what he should do, he must employ more inspectorate who are knowledgeable on seismic events. That is the first point. 2, he must emphasize most on compliance. And 3, I think there must be a safety summit. And 4, he must come up with an audit, a safety audit to all these mines, and then we'll be able to chart the way forward.
Mr. Joseph Matunja, the AMCU president, thank you very much for your time, sir. Just one of the individuals, of course, very concerned about the situation here at the mine in Carletonville, as we wait, of course, for the Mineral Resources Minister to arrive a bit later on this evening, where he will also demand answers on what has taken place here, especially, I think, in light of the 2 tremors that were experienced here this afternoon. Clearly, the terrain itself also hampering the rescue efforts. That was halted for about an hour or so, Peter. It has now resumed, and of course, as the loved ones of those who remain trapped underground wait to hear what the fate of their loved ones will be, certainly will bring you all of that live a bit later on this evening. But of course, Peter, I think also in addition to that, while as the sun goes down and as the clock ticks as well, many remain concerned about the situation at this particular mine.
All right, Griselda, that's where we'll leave it for the time being. That's Griselda Lewis, who's on the ground for us there. And as you've heard from her, the Minister of Mineral Resources, Gwede Mantashe, is expected to visit the mine this evening. And we spoke to him a little